Halo. Just at the mention of that name, half of you were probably like, fuck yeah, Halo, I love that. The other half probably couldn't care less. For a long time, I was part of the latter because I grew up as a PlayStation kid, never owning any Xbox consoles. A Nintendo console here and there, but never Xbox. As an adult, I have a PC and I've been meaning to go back and play games I never gave a chance. I've also been meaning to make YouTube videos as a hobby for a while now, so might as well knock out two birds with one stone. Our journey starts after the UNSC Pillar of Autumn comes in from a blind jump on Escape from Reach, and immediately it's being boarded by the Covenant. As Master Chief unfreezes, I change my settings and get ready for my first firefights with the Covenant. Before I can get my hands on a gun, I have to sprint down a couple hallways while not really in danger. After I get handed a pistol by a future pile of goop, I find the graphics mode button and play with that for a while. I decide that I like the original graphics mode and play with that for most of the game. After walking down another hallway, I see my first alien, a grunt. They're so cute. They talk during combat and they yell and panic really easily. It's kind of sad, but you can kill them really quickly. Sometimes they carry a needler, which is dangerous, but other than that, they carry a plasma pistol, which is really useful, because if you fully charge it, it can get rid of the next enemy's shield in Elite. They have a shield similar to Master Chief and carry a plasma rifle. At low health, they like to death charge you, but that's actually kind of good. You can use that to your advantage. So I think they should stop that, but they don't. They also come in different colors and are stronger or weaker based on the color. I think that goes for most enemies, but I'm unsure. In my first firefight, I realized pretty fast that the assault rifle is useless. It's good against anything without a shield, I guess, but I mean, anything is good against anything without a shield if you're smart. After almost killing a Marine with a grenade on accident, I throw another Marine into an escape pod and shoot towards the Halo, in Escape from the Covenant. Turns out crashing into the ground at high speeds hurts more than plasma. And as these Marines were not a 7-foot cyborg, they did not survive. The Covenant don't give me time to admire the scenery. This level introduces a couple new enemies, that being the Banshee, a flying vehicle piloted by an elite that makes a scary noise, hence the name. Jackals also show up. They're another weak enemy. They don't have a full body shield like the elites, but they have a smaller shield on their arm. That does cover most of their body, I guess, but you can still shoot their hand if you're good at aiming, and that staggers them enough to let you get a chance to kill them. They usually have a plasma pistol, though. They're basically a guaranteed plasma pistol drop, so I like having them, because then I can just get a plasma pistol, and that's so useful because a fully charged shot gets rid of the shield on any Jackal number one, and then you can also get rid of any shield on an elite, even a gold one, which is the strongest variant, I think, like instantly. So I usually carried a plasma pistol at all times. But after beating that encounter and saving some crash survivors, I get to drive my first Warthog. It came with a free gunner, and after driving around and killing some dudes, then crossing a bridge after flipping it, and I didn't realize I could flip it back yet. I get to the first really tough part. A bunch of Marines are being assaulted by a conjillion guys, and the only one who can save them was me. Too bad I suck ass. I'm pretty sure they all died, because I got my ass kicked for like 2 hours here. I like how they know what health I'm on! Why? Wow. Like fucking hell, and like so dead. God damn it! How are they everywhere? All right, good attempt. There was so many guys. It was ship after ship after ship, and I didn't have a Warthog to help me. I had to do it on foot. After a break where I ate or I profed or something, I don't know. I did beat it after only 10 more minutes, so it wasn't that bad. They gave me another warthog for free, and it turns out I did. Oh look, yeah, I did save some guys. Yeah, they got in the warthog and helped me further along. I drove to the next group of Marines, and after bashing my head against a brick wall without the warthog, I went back to the warthog. I definitely didn't flip for a second time, and unflipped it. Had my surviving Marines get back in and kill the remaining Covenant. As a reward, at a nearby life pod, I find a sniper rifle and a medkit, which allow me to easily defeat the last encounter and beat the mission. I get picked up by a pelican, and I'm sent to a nearby Covenant ship to save Captain Keyes. This level introduces stationary gunner turrets set up by the Covenant. They can be knocked over with explosives easily enough, but they're pretty useful if you can get one in a good position, as they have infinite ammo and no overheat. It's a really long and tough combat section, but I found an active camo after struggling for a while that let me sneak past the remaining enemies into the gravity well leading to the Truth and Reconciliation, where Captain Keyes was. This was a easy combat section comparatively because I could blast most enemies from a well set up turret nearby, until the final wave where we are introduced to the Hunter, a big brawlic brute ready to They can be one shot with a sniper round to the back. Actually, one pistol shot does it as well. They're not a threat. I'd much rather see 2 of those guys than 8 guys with laser swords. Some who are invisible. that would be a nightmare. We climb the gravity well with the last bit of meaningful reinforcements we'll get this mission. And immediately upon entry, we're ambushed by 8 guys with swords, some who are invisible. Thank goodness it's not all at once, only in waves followed by normal elites. Eventually I find a good spot to hold out and shoot grunts and jackals in the main room from safety. I just have to keep an eye on the door behind. I love this mission so much. I know I was joking about not being jumped by so many guys with swords, but it was incredibly fun until the end. Anyway, after slaughtering all of them, and a couple more hunters, I cut my way through the Covenant cruisers, hallways, and hangars with a plasma pistol and other various alien-based alliteration.
Howdy, partner. Slap my hand. My appreciation, amigo.
Until I find myself in the control room. Little plasma here, little plasma there, and some there for good measure, and the control room is mine. Stomping the pathetic morsels on my way to the brig, I find Captain... or just a medkit. After saving Keyes, the worst thing a game can do occurs. Escort missions. If Keyes dies, I lose and I gotta reload at checkpoint. Very annoying. After a couple minutes of blood, sweat, and mostly tears, Keyes flies us out in an alien spacecraft. I didn't know they taught that at the academy. There's a map room in the Halo that can help us or something. I don't know, my AI girlfriend told me it's important. So I storm a beach with some Marines, and after sliming those inklings, the UNSC continued my Pavlovian response training by giving me a warthog, which I happily accepted. Hell yeah, I did. As I drive along the beach, Cortana tells me that a building in the side of a cliff is where we need to go. So I use my retribution on wheels to kill all the guys, mostly safely, and as I turn a corner, I see a gold elite lock the door. Yeah, I guess that would have been a short mission. So I get back in my 4-wheel drive punishment machine, and Cortana does her objective finding magic, and I mosey on out. Along the way, I find a crashed warthog next to dead Marines on a Covenant patrol, so I flip the diesel beast back on its wheels and spit-let at anything that didn't bleed red in honor of my fallen Marines. I accidentally grenaded myself next to a tree and accept it. There was nothing I could have done. I think anyway. Easy enough process to repeat though, so no harm, no foul. A little later I find out about the pistol one-shotting hunters, so I try to keep a pistol on me at all times. Unless I find something better, like a sniper rifle or a shotgun. Ooh, the shotgun. I'm getting ahead of myself. Cortana tells me to get into a building, so I get into it using a delicate process called shoot plasma in that direction until it stops firing back. Hunters appear, but I don't even flinch. It's already routine. Get behind him with a pistol, blam blam, easy as pie. I press the override and now I gotta backtrack. On my way out of the override building, I encounter a couple camo-equipped elites. As they have no shield though, it doesn't take me long to eliminate them. More enemies I think you can run past, but I kill them just for fun. On my way to the quiet map drawer, I give squids back shots. And some hunters a rocket back shot. Handing out plasma to the unscorched, I plug Cortana into the Halo's map room. Afterwards, she finds the actual control room of the Halo. She calls Keys and tells him that I flew up and need picked up from school. The Covenant don't think that's a good idea and try preventing me from leaving, but after giving them a well-worded and plasma-clad argument, they had no choice but to let me go. The rest of the level is just combat encounters in places we already been. Then we get picked up by a pelican. I get dropped off at an underground entrance, get across a bridge using my plasma-based keycard. All my favorite parts of this game happen on either an alien ship or a snowy place. This part is awesome. You get a tank at one point, and a ghost as well. Faster and weaker than the tank, but very good for driving circles around the enemy, and they're both very fun to use. I go with the tank though, because big boom equals big dopamine. Though somehow they shoot you while you're in your tank, which doesn't make sense, but neither does having infinite ammo, so I can't complain too much. My tank also seems to be a lot stronger than any Covenant tank I come across, so I'm thankful for that as well. I take the tank as far as I can, and when I can't take it any further, I pick up a rocket launcher and become the tank for these Marines until they're all dead, but that's fine, I kill the rest of the Covenant anyway. It definitely did not take me several attempts. This was my first try. No, it was my first try. Eventually, after enough rockets, plasma stops flying back at me, so I take an empty ghost and jam it into a building nearby somehow, and use that to cheese as much of the next combat encounter as I can. I fight my way through ancient alien architecture until I find myself at the base of a pyramid that Cortana says is important. There's a ghost at the bottom, so I get in that and clear as much as I can, but I discover very quickly that hunters are pretty good at dealing with ghosts. I almost said banshees. So I get out and sneak up behind them and, well, I have a pistol, so bah! Dead. I assume they probably get stronger in later games. I really doubt that they're one-shot by pistols for all these games. At some point I accidentally killed myself with a ghost by trying to fly it over a small gap, but it's fine. I continued on foot, and there wasn't really much standing in the way between me and the control room. The rest of the level was pretty easy. After I plug her into the computer, Cortana tells me in a very, very panicked fashion that I need to stop Keys from whatever he's about to open to the middle of a swamp, and I have to fight my way through Covenant that are running away from something that's not me. Spooky. So, as any sane person would in this situation, I walk towards the direction that they were running from and find scenes of gored and murdered Covenant that I did not cause. I hope it was Marines causing that. A Marine was sad he didn't have any kills, so I gave him one. And after a couple more atmospherically ominous hallways, the classic mind snatcher every sci-fi reveals itself in some body cam footage I found. The Flood. Very cool, it looks almost fungusy. And it's fun to shoot, which is the most important aspect of any mind snatcher hive mind. There is the baby flood, which come in small swarms and rush at you. They're really easy to deal with if you have nothing else shooting at you. However, they're usually not by themselves. They're accompanied by 3 other variants. Human and Covenant Flood, which consist mostly of elites and humans. They have guns sometimes and will shoot at you and just run straight at you with no regards for their own safety. All of them at once. And when you kill them, they have a chance to get back up. The third variant is a Grunt Flood, which is basically a walking exploding barrel that spawns baby flood when it explodes. It also explodes by itself when it gets too close, so I guess it's closer to a mine. Oh, this is also the level that introduces the shotgun, my favorite weapon in the game. It's so fun. It reminds me almost of Doom, except more satisfying. It's like having a fuck anything within 5 feet of me in that direction button. And I try to keep it on me whenever I can because it's just so good. It's so fun. After grabbing a tube-fed lead delivery system, I easily clear all organic obstacles in my way until I meet Wheatley and he takes me to a library. Rude. I hate reading. The only new thing this level does is introduce an allied drone thing that shoots lasers. They don't last long against anything that can shoot back, though. Some of the encounters were difficult, but there's not much to talk about. Like, don't get me wrong, I rather enjoyed this level, but there's only so many ways I can say I shot guys and moved on to the next hallway, and I am not gonna waste the last of my reserves here. So I'm skipping to the end where I collect the index for Wheatley and he teleports us back to the control room. Before I can put the index back in, Cortana's like, hey, he's trying to kill us. And I'm like, fuck. That's putting it simply, though. I learned that the Halo is meant to destroy the Flood, though it doesn't destroy them directly. It kills them by starving them and wiping an entire section of the galaxy of life. Also, the laser drones are enemies now. After dispatching the drones easily enough, Cortana explains on our way out that we can destroy the Halo by blowing up the Pillar of Autumn. First, we'll need Captain Keyes, or his neural interface at least. And on the way, I get to destroy some generators to delay any chance of the Halo ring firing. This part was a little frustrating, and I may or may not have forgotten to record some of the cool Banshee piloting, but don't worry, there's plenty more of that. In fact, there's this cool part where I get to dogfight with a Banshee for a little bit. Alright, I guess I just chased him for a bit, but it felt cool in the moment. I can't wait to see how it feels in future games. Each generator I disable also disables my shields after I walk into it, but it never takes me that long to beat the encounter that follows. There's a large Covenant blockade guarding the last generator, and they're holding up pretty well against the Flood nearby, so I can't use my usual strategy of wait for them to be damaged first. So instead, I hop in a Ghost and try and do as much damage as I can before I crash into something, and then I hop in a Banshee and cheese them from as high up in the air as possible. Afterwards, I disable the final generator and beat the mission. Before I can blow up the Pillar of Autumn, I need Captain Keyes, who is apparently back on the Truth and Reconciliation. So I get in as close as I can and start blasting my way through this place. A war zone of Covenant and Flood. I just need Keyes, however the lack of Marines is starting to give me doubts. Eventually I get cornered by the Flood and am forced to jump into a large pit of coolant that is also filled with Flood. Oh well, nothing a little plasma and buckshot can't deal with. After getting back in through a gravity lift guarded by an easily dispatched group of Covenant and Flood, I once again cut my way through the halls of the Truth and Reconciliation in search of Keyes. Throughout the halls of the Truth and Reconciliation, I get brief transmissions from Keyes telling me to just leave. But I can't. When I find him this time, well, I fight my way back to the hangar and get in a Banshee and leave. Master Chief does a sick prank on Cortana and the mission begins. Aboard the ship I haven't been on since the beginning of the game, I find the Flood and a Covenant strike force. They look shinier and have grunts wielding plasma cannons, I think, which one-shot your shield, like a fully charged plasma pistol shot, but they're more of a boon than they are a hindrance, because after they die, they explode, which kill nearby enemies, and I don't need to explain why that's a good thing. After plugging Cortana into her spot aboard the ship, she tells me the monitor's location, which also happens to be where I need to go, the engine room. I shoot my way through the familiar hallways and into a sort of final boss room, where the monitor runs around rambling and I gotta explode a couple vents on the reactor. There's an armory full of camouflage flood next to the engine room if you don't have explosives for this part, but it's easy enough. You walk up the ramp, then walk up the next ramp, press the button, destroy the vent, and then do that 3 more times. Afterwards, there's this little section on a warthog. You get to drive through a bunch of enemies on a time limit. Pretty video gamey, but honestly, it's very, very fun. This whole game, in general, has been really fun so far. I'm glad I decided to make my first video on it. And after a dismount and a light jog, that's it. That's the end of the game. As the final cutscene is playing, I would just like to thank all of you for watching, and I've had fun making this video. I'm not sure what I want to do for my next video, but if you enjoyed this one, I recommend you subscribe, and maybe I'll do something similar. Maybe I'll just do some clips of me playing Darktide with my friends. We'll see, but thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. And then I put the outro.